right, I'm back. Evie's back. We are here to return to Outriders for the time being, and as you may have guessed from my title and thumbnail, things are looking a little dire at the moment. I know some of you are probably saying, "How did we get here? You know, you gave it a good review all those months or a month ago, and what happened?" Uh, this is why I hate reviewing games and putting like a number score on something because it's so hard to like know what's gonna happen, and like you just either have to wait like 3 months or just never give scores because like it's impossible. I really liked Outriders when it launched. There were not really any major issues outside of the kind of launch weekend where there were some connectivity problems, but I really enjoyed the campaign. I even liked the story campaign more than I thought. Combat was really fun. I like going through the different world tiers. It was fun to create builds and stuff like kind of right away. Had a really good experience, and then my dipping my toes into the end game early uh, seemed fine. Like it seemed like it had a good system in place, and that hasn't really changed. What has changed is the amount of bugs and technical problems that have just tanked this game and tanked my enjoyment of the game for weeks now. I'm not even talking about the inventory wipe bug, which has been going on for pretty much a month now. Like, it's not doing it like they're not new cases of this, but they still have yet to come up with a gear restoration plan. But I mean, 99% of those players who experience that have to be gone by now. Like, that's just something that would insta kill your game because you either had to make an alt and like you couldn't even log in on half those characters. So that was just a disaster, and that's kind of what the focus has been on. But there are other problems now that have extended, especially if you're trying to play in the end game, and it's just kind of a nightmare to play. And the frustrating thing about Outriders is that it is not like Anthem or Avengers in that you need to see these like big structural changes to the current version of Outriders to like be the thing that transforms the game, or like you need some massive expansion to fix all the problems and like redo all the systems and all that stuff. That's not really the issue. Like it actually gets the fundamentals very right, and I really enjoy how gear interacts with each other, how the mod system works. Maybe outside of the timers, even I think the endgame expedition system is kind of a good take on Diablo's Rifts. Even if I'd like more endgame content in theory, I would be satisfied kind of running this content, making builds for my characters if these other issues were fixed. We can start with the like kind of in order here, where getting into a match-made expedition game has been just exhausting, like ever since launch. And I've even taken out a stopwatch to try and time this sometimes, but it's probably like 3 connect failures, like can't even join a party to start with, and then you'll get into at least 1 or 2 games where there's an AFK person just sitting at the vendor or sitting at spawn doing absolutely nothing in camp. They were supposed to fix this aspect of it by changing everyone's default party to closed. So if you're just like kind of hopping into a game to change around your build, or like you've left and are AFK, like you won't just get random people joining your game. They didn't change that. That was supposed to be in the last patch, but it has not changed. Every time you go into a new game, your party is open, people will join up on you, or you will be joining into AFK people's parties. That has not changed at all. Actually, starting an expedition is another experience. There is no actual tier matching system, so you are probably going to be put in a group that is doing anywhere from like 3 tier levels to like where you actually want to be. Like if you've been doing tier 11s and you just hit tier 12, you will probably be put in a game, but you have no idea whether the person that's a party leader will select tier 9, tier 10, or tier 11 or tier 12. Like you just have no idea what you're actually going to be in for, much less what thing they're going to select. People stop selecting Heart of the Wild. It's terrible. I hate it. And so you don't really have control over that. Then there is the actual game itself. Outriders suffers from huge amount of kind of stuttering and lag depending on your platform. I turned off crossplay, and I have found that generally speaking, I am having less lag by not using crossplay, but obviously that is also hurting matchmaking because I have less players to match with now. And then in the game itself, the expedition timers, that's like a whole other thing. But with the peer-to-peer matchmaking system, today, for instance, I was running a really fast Coliseum run with 2 random people, and then we got to the final boss area. We were just about to clear it, and the host disconnected. And when the host disconnects, it's not like it just shifts the host over to the next guy and we keep going. It ends the entire game and resets the whole thing, where I am now starting over the entire expedition from baseline with the other person, and then the host is left. And no rewards for getting most of the way through, nothing. It completely resets the encounter. This is the same for any normal disconnects, things like that. So it is immensely frustrating in that regard. That's connectivity issues. Then there are gameplay issues. And again, the gameplay issues here are not like gameplay isn't fun. Like the shooting and skills and all that are actually very fun. This is the most fun I've had kind of with a third-person shooter maybe ever. Like, it is very good. It's mechanically great when there's no lag, at least. The problem is all of these things are being hampered by the sheer amount of bugs that just keep cropping up. As of this latest patch, it either made these bugs worse or like made them more noticeable, or something happened where there's 2 main issues. Like one thing is that a lot of perks just like don't work. Like perks to like, kill stack armor or something doesn't work. Your weapon perks might just deactivate randomly. So if you have an entire build based around like bone shrapnel explosion, speaking of bone shrapnel, he's chewing on some horns as usual. If that turns off, like you're just screwed for the entire run, and like one mod just not working can destroy your whole build. The other issue is like there is just weird stuff going on with survivability and armor in particular. A lot of people are being one-shot just out of nowhere for damage that shouldn't really be able to kill them. I tried to clip this, but it was too annoying on Xbox. But literally, again, today I was trying to run through stuff, and I was doing really well with one other dude, and we were in like one of the little pillar parts, and a broodmother came with 1 slash. It 100 to 0'd both of us in one swing. This is like challenge tier 11. Like this isn't even like crazy endgame, but like it just instantly wiped us and ended the encounter, and like that is literally not supposed to happen. There's supposed to be like an anti one-shot mechanic in there, and it just doesn't work half the time. And past that, like I should have enough armor and survivability where one broodmother swing at challenge tier 11 should not kill me. Like that doesn't make any sense. But this is happening with alphas. It's happening with human melees and shotgun shots and things like, and people are just instantly dying. But then in another run, they might have perfect survivability. And like one thing people have found is like taking all your armor off and putting it back on again is like a way to fix it, or like a way to reset your stats so they actually work. But this is something I've noticed. Like it is very variable. Like your performance, your damage, your survivability, just wild. Even your cooldowns, like they vary from encounter to encounter. I heard one guy telling every time he joined up on his buddy's cooldowns reset to like max. So like you would go into the skill screen and he's got all these cooldown mods on, but you would look at him and they would be like baseline. They wouldn't be lowered at all. And like just the weirdest of crap bugs keep happening. And like this is what I mean is like you sit around and you wait for like, okay, they're gonna fix it, and then like you go on Reddit and they had this 20 question survey about like, are you getting one shot by enemies? Which enemies are you getting run shot by? Like what build, like what's your build? What mods are you running? And it's literally like QA testing. Like it's like filling out a report, and this Reddit thread is like it's half full of people yelling about this and half people like actually filling out this report in like the most cumbersome formatting ever. And it's like, if this is the stage of like what they're doing and the feedback, like who knows when this is going to be fixed? Like it seems like they really don't have a clue. And like it's like People Can Fly is like really transparent, and like they talk a ton about like why this bug is so hard to fix, like why inventory wipes happen, like why restoration is so hard. They give you like thousands and thousands of words of explanation as to why, but like in practice they are not delivering on either fixes or like things that the player base wants to see. It's been a month, and every change they made has been something either purposefully or unintentionally to make players weaker. There have never been any buffs to the player side. They did a tiny bit of nerfs on snipers, and they were supposed to nerf a few creatures, but that didn't really even work. I think those are still bugged. And then one thing they also have not done, this is kind of the cherry on top of all of this, is as I was concerned about for a long time, every game does this at launch. Their legendary drop rates are way too stingy and terrible. I played the entire campaign on 4 characters, never once saw a legendary drop from an actual enemy, not once. You can get some at the end of quests, things like that, but I never saw an enemy drop a legendary. I have seen some in challenge tiers from the pods and expeditions, but like the rates are just abysmal. They're terrible until you finally get to like maybe 12 or 13, and then they really start to be dropping in earnest to some extent in 14 and 15. But like I'm like 150 hours into the game at this point, and I still don't have a complete 3 set of armor on any of the 4 classes outside of like maybe the cannonball set. Like that is crazy, and like it is really demotivating to grind for stuff when like it is so hard to just get into a game and complete it, and like with the drop rates being this bad on top of it, it's like, what am I even doing this for? And like the odds of finding what I actually need are like almost mathematically impossible with the way things are right now. So all of these things have kind of added up to sort of a mass exodus of play. Like the player base is okay. Like it hasn't like totally collapsed, and it had a better baseline than a lot of other games, but like I really want to play this. It's so frustrating because like I when it works, it is really great, but it's only working like 20% of the time. And we have no timeline on like when anything is going to be fixed. And like, I don't need like a Gear 2.0 overhaul or some huge expansion to fix things. Like, I just need what is there to work. And like, it won't do it. And it is beyond infuriating because like, it's a much different problem than I think we've seen with Anthem or Avengers or Godfall or all the your Destiny 1 vanilla or Diablo 3 vanilla. And like all these things that needed like these huge transformative changes. Like they got 90% of that stuff really right. It's just these technical issues and their lack of ability to fix them quickly is going to tank all interest in this game. And like I feel like I'm never going to fully experience like the end game, how it could be realized, because I don't know how long I'm gonna have the patience for this. So, and like, yeah, it's not a live service, blah blah blah, but like it is to the extent where like this is supposed to be a game that you're grinding the end game. And you easily could if these problems weren't here. So as you can see, I'm a bit animated about all this, but it is extremely frustrating because like almost every day I'm like trying to make this work and it just isn't happening. We will see what the next updates are. They're coming out very slowly. So until then, I'm going to have a Destiny season launching in under a week here. So that's going to take up a lot of my time. I'm going to try the new Apex update today, probably. Like, there's other stuff to do, and they had a whole month really to kind of like figure this out, and it's only gotten worse. It's just getting progressively worse. That's so loud. Okay, I'm gonna let her chew on that, and you guys can chew on all my discussion points. So I hate that. Okay. Anyways, I was supposed to open with this, but I'll probably remember next time. I also I just started doing other YouTube videos that are pretty much this format, just shorter and more newsy for Forbes. They just set up like a Forbes gaming YouTube channel, and also just like the regular Forbes YouTube channel. I'm filming videos like this about news events. I just did one about Epic versus Apple and just kind of the brief rundown of that. I'll be doing those periodically, so I'll have a link to the new Forbes Games YouTube thing in the comments or the description. So if you guys could sub to that in addition to my channel, it would make me look good, and I will be posting those videos when I make them. Still going to be doing daily videos here. These will be a lot longer. These will be about loot-based games and not court cases, but just different things. And they saw these videos and liked them, and they wanted me to make videos for them too. So that's what I'm doing. But all right, I will see you guys later, and thanks for watching.